Mark Stoops is the winningest coach of all time in Kentucky football history. He's done so with stellar defense, grit, determination, has changed recruiting at Kentucky, but the offense has never been reliable, never been really balanced, never really been dynamic, even with some great players that have come through there. Here's why the 2023 offense for Kentucky football will be the best, the most balanced, the most dynamic that Mark Stoops has ever had. Hello, everyone. I'm Blayne Gilmer. Welcome to Southeastern 14. I talk all things SEC football in the offseason here, and then we're going to be building up the momentum as we go into the season as well. It's spring practice right now. Everybody's kind of figuring out what they have and getting those spring reps. But, guys, we don't just cover football here. Blake Lovell, Chris Lee, they do a phenomenal job covering SEC basketball, SEC baseball here as well. So make sure you like, subscribe, and turn on notifications here on the channel so you catch us when we go live, do live streams, and also get all of the SEC action here. All right, guys, so 2023 offense for Kentucky. You see the win totals there, 66 wins, most all-time, 2 10-win seasons for Mark Stoops. But it's been that offense that has plagued him a little bit. You can see right here in the 10 seasons that Mark Stoops has been there, the high water mark has been 32.3 points per game in 2021. That happens to be when Liam Coen was the offensive coordinator. That happens to be when Will Levis made the first move over from Penn State. That was his first year with Kentucky. And guys, even with that, that was the high water mark in terms of the NCAA rankings of their points per game. They were only 36. That's as high as they've ever been. Most of the time, these point totals from 24.5 points per game all the way back in 2013 when they went 2-10. That was good for 108th in the FBS in scoring. Then you talk about, most of the other times they're anywhere from in the mid 60s down to that, up into the hundreds mark in scoring. And it's just not been consistent. Now you see back in, 2020, of course, they were without a quarterback really. They had some injuries, things like that. But that quarterback play has not been consistent under Mark Stoops either. Going all the way back to Maxwell Smith and Jalen Whitlow, kind of splitting time back his first year. Of course, you had the Sawyer Smith-Lynn Bowden deal with Terry Wilson getting hurt in the 2019 season. But even Terry Wilson, as, dynamic of a player as he was able to run the football, had some success passing the football. Even Patrick Tolles and Steven Johnson did some things throwing the football okay. It's just not been tremendously consistent. Will Levis has really been an exciting prospect in terms of he's going to be a top-tier prospect in the NFL draft coming up, but not just the overall production at times has been to a level that can take Kentucky past that, okay, we're a really good team capable of beating other good teams and can get to the 9-10 win mark to being, okay, we're a true contender in the East. We're a true contender in the SEC. We're going to take that next step. But I think that's going to change a little bit here. You see the consistency. Only 3 times in the 10 years has the Kentucky pass completion percentage been north of 60%. Terry Wilson, 2018, came in there, did a good job, and then Will Levis in the last 2 seasons. But you see even the regression there from when Liam Coen was at the helm in 21 to Rich Scangarello in 2022. Not only did Kentucky go backwards in terms of their efficiency in the passing game, they went from averaging that 32 point, and I'll go back to that screen, 32.3 points per game in 2021 to a paltry 20.4. That is, they lost 12 points per game on average with Liam Coen leaving town. He is back now, and listen, when you talk about Kentucky, it's all about the run game, right? You've got to get a running presence, and you got to be able to run the football well, at least efficiently, okay, to be able to set up that passing game, get things going, or at least that's what things have been at Kentucky. Last year's running game was absolutely terrible. 3.3 yards per carry. The offensive line got no push. That is 19.5% worse than the 2013 team that went 2-10 on the year. And that team did not have a tremendous offensive line. Also, the offensive line had problems protecting Will Levis. That's one reason his pass completion rate was down. That's one reason that his production suffered. That's one reason he suffered with injuries a little bit, because the 47 sacks allowed by Kentucky's offensive line in 2022 was 127th out of 131 FBS football teams. That is not going to get you to where you need to be. Mark Stoops knows that. They made the change at offensive coordinator. They brought in some guys on the offensive line, and we're going to talk about, the impact transfers here. Okay, they needed to improve on the offensive line. Bringing in Marquez Cox does that. Left tackle from Northern Illinois. He can be there and be that experienced guy at left tackle. Then you get to move Kenneth Horsey inside back to guard. You can do some different things in terms of, you got Tanner Bowles coming in from Alabama. So whether he fits in at that guard rotation, they've got pieces now that they should be able to move guys around inside of that 5 and have 7, 8 guys with real depth there on that offensive line. That has been an issue. But I think that the reason that this Kentucky offense is going to be the most dynamic that Mark Stoops has ever had, even the most dynamic one that Liam Coen has had there, is because of those 2 guys you see in the foreground of that picture, and that would be Ray Davis and Devin Leary. Devin Leary is a guy who I think is just a pure passer and distributor of the football. Yes, we got to make sure that everything's held up from the pec, right? That's the big thing. He had that pec injury at NC State. And listen, I think, providing that everything's good there with the pec, this is a guy who, I know Will Levis has a huge arm. I know Will Levis is going to be a first round, NFL draft pick. I know that this and that about the physical attributes, but I'm telling you, when you just have a true passer of the football, like a Devin Leary, when you have a guy who that is what he does, is he stands and delivers, and he's going to find the open guy and make quick decisions and things like that, not worry about constantly having to try to push the ball down the field, all those kind of things. I think that this offense is going to be more efficient, more dynamic, and more balanced. Ray Davis comes in to take over for Chris Rodriguez, who had a tremendous career at Kentucky. He had over 1,000 yards at Vanderbilt. It was just over 1,000 yards. I told people before, if you had over 1,000 yards at Vanderbilt, I equate that to being like 1,600 yards somewhere else, okay? Because that offensive line was not very good. Even with the problems that Kentucky had on the offensive line, they still had mass and size, where Vanderbilt is just undersized. It didn't get much push. I think Ray Davis is going to be a tremendous, tremendous back for Kentucky. Key transfer, okay? So with those 4 guys injected into this offense, I think you're going to see some major improvement, not only in the run blocking, in the running game, but also you're going to see Ray Davis can pass protect well, pick up blitzes. He's experienced. He's played in the SEC before, and those two offensive linemen transferring in are going to help Devin Leary and company. And Devin Leary, here's the thing. You just got to give him a little bit of time. Okay. You just got to give him a little bit of time because, like I said, he's going to find the open guy. He's experienced. Okay. He's played a lot of football before. He's already been working with Liam Coen this offseason to get things ironed out and how they want to operate this offense. The main thing is you just got to give him time because he's not the most mobile guy in the world. He's going to be able to extend plays when he needs to. But the guys up front, Marquez Cox, Kenneth Horsey, Eli Cox, you got Yeager Burton, you got Jeremy Flax, you got DeAndre Buford, Tanner Bowles. All of these guys should be able to help keep Devin Leary upright and allow him to distribute the football because the strength of this offense, in my mind, is really this Kentucky wide receiver room. It's tremendous. It's one of the top 3 wide receiver rooms in the SEC. No doubt about it. Dane Key, Tayvion Robinson, and Barion Brown. These guys were fantastic a year ago, even when this offense wasn't clicking very well. Between the 3 of them, 1,644 yards, 127 catches returning. And that's with, Dane Key being a freshman, Barion Brown being a young guy, Tayvion Robinson just coming over from Virginia Tech into a new offensive system. Yes, I know it's a different coordinator, but I'm just telling you, Tayvion Robinson is already getting the talk from Liam Coen as, hey, he was underutilized. I'd like to see him do some more stuff that they did with Wan'Dale Robinson. Listen, that 2021 offense was good. Like I said, 32.3 points per game. But Wan'Dale Robinson, they were so heavily dependent on him to move the chains and to help Will Levis out. Devin Leary has the benefit, of having 3 guys who can win at the line of scrimmage and are going to create separation from defenses. And then Barion Brown, if he is so fast, you just give him a little bit of space and he catches that thing on the run, it's lights out. It's over with. Barion Brown has elite speed and can do some great things after the catch as well. Listen, they also bring in 2 4-star receivers in Shamar Porter and Anthony Brown that are going to be freshmen that can add some depth in here. Jordan Dingle returns at tight end. So a lot to be excited about in terms of these Wildcat, pass catchers, guys that are just going to make plays. And listen, what has been the difference between really good teams and elite teams in college football? The last few years, you're talking about the Alabamas, the LSUs, heck, even Georgia with what they've had at the tight end position. It's been a little bit different how they've done it. Instead of wide receiver, it's been at tight end, but having elite playmakers on the perimeter, and Georgia's had some pretty good receivers as well. But Kentucky has those elite guys. Dane Key, he can be a true number 1 guy. You saw some of the fantastic catches he made a year ago, especially the one at Florida. He's going to be, stretching the field. He's the guy that can make contested catches. Barion Brown is just, he can do anything with him. Jet sweeps, reverses. He can catch the quick game, make one guy miss, take it to the house. And then Tayvion Robinson, he's that Swiss Army knife slot guy that can be moved all over, come out of the backfield, do different stuff. So Liam Coen has a lot of toys there to play with. And then the X factor, okay? Can Liam Coen and Kentucky get anything out of D. Beckwith? Will he be with the team come this fall? Was he going to be a guy that produces any, transferred in from Tennessee, hasn't really done anything, bounced around from tight end, wide receiver, running back, 6'5", 236 pounds. If they can find a way to use this massive, explosive athlete, and you see him there, the pictures from practice, because he just hasn't played. He hasn't found a way to get on the field much for Kentucky. So I think that D. Beckwith can be an X factor for this Kentucky offense. And if you add him to those other 3 receivers, to those 2 incoming freshmen, to Ray Davis, to Jutal McClain, to Devin Leary, to that remade offensive line with the experience of Kenneth Horsey up front, and Eli Cox, and then you add Marquez Cox and Tanner Bowles, DeAndre Buford. I think this Kentucky offense is going to be special in 2023. That's why I really, really like the Kentucky Wildcats coming into this year. We'll have full predictions and schedule previews and all that hitting here on Southeastern 14 before you know it. So make sure to like, subscribe, turn on notifications. Guys, that's why I think that Kentucky's offense is going to be the best one that Mark Stoops has ever had while he's been there in year 11 in Lexington. For Southeastern 14, I am Blayne Gilmer, and we'll catch you guys next time.